IT, are you ready?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Candiota County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. Please stand as you are able for the pledge. I want to thank everybody for joining us here in the boardroom today, as well as those who are taking in this meeting on our YouTube channel. At this time, I would request approval of today's agenda as revised.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as revised.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. The consent agenda consists today of the approval of the January 20th, 2026 County Board legal minutes, as well as approval of the auditor's warrants and claims. Do any commissioners wish to pull either of those items from the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Before we begin our business today, I do want to just set out a couple of things here for everybody in the room. Specifically, when we get to the presentation by Sheriff Collison, today's discussion is narrow and intentional. We're only going to be focusing on the 287G agreement and what it would mean operationally for Candiota County. The individuals involved in this discussion are county employees and partners who serve our community every day. We will hear directly from the sheriff, who is responsible for jail operations, and we will do so in a respectful, professional manner. This is an opportunity for fact-based information sharing, not speculation or assumptions. The ICE housing contract is not the topic today. That contract is a separate agreement originally signed in 2001. Questions or comments that move outside the scope of 287G will be directed so we can stay focused specifically on that topic. We recognize that this is a complex and sensitive topic. The expectation is a respectful focus and professional conversation, and staying within this scope allows the public and the board to leave with accurate information. So I want to set that table at this time, and now we will move to our 9 o'clock item, which is consideration of Resolution 2026-10, 2026 Bridge Replacement Program. Mel Odens, our Public Works Director, will present. Mel, good morning. Everyone's here to see you today.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, thank you. Yes, today is the presentation of the annual Bridge Replacement Program resolution. And what I have before you is, in your packet is a resolution that shows the, I believe there's 30 bridges plus or minus on there. And then also, maybe more importantly, is in the back, I show you where they all are. Because you can kind of see in the southern, south of Highway 12, there's a bunch of them.
Mr. Chair, could you put that up on the screen so that everybody can see it? Thank you.
And Mel, when we're talking about bridges, we're talking about a specific type of bridge here for the most part, yes?
This resolution encompasses all of our bridges in terms of not necessarily just timber bridges, but it encompasses ones that are the multi-plate. Culverts, it involves the timber bridges and any bridges that are deficient. They do a local planning index. Anything that's below a 60 rating is eligible. Anything above a 60 rating, 60 and greater is not eligible for funding. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't watch them and you could replace them, but they're not eligible for the bridge bonding funding. So I just wanted for the sake of the public, the blue bridges are eligible for all the resources that we have available, federal, state, town bridge. And then the red ones are the ones that are posted, but not eligible for funding. So the unique part of that is that we're a big ag economy here, and we've got these bridges that are posted, but they're not eligible for replacement. And so that is a unique situation that we have in the county, because a posted bridge doesn't allow, in some cases, all legal loads. So you got large ag. Anymore, the farm to market isn't, a 200 bushel wagon, it's usually a semi, a grain cart. Those posted bridges do not allow the passage of those legally over them. The other thing is, so this is where they all are. You can see there's a bunch of them down here. They're both township and county bridges. These are only the bridges on the local system. If I refer back to the resolution, you can see the ones that are, we've only got 2 that are township bridges in this case. The rest are county bridges. There's only 2 that are eligible for replacement right now. And the one we're gonna be doing this summer. And then Fallen Township has another one that's gonna be eligible. That is eligible, we were gonna try and do next year. The problem that these bridges are $1 million.
So,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, yeah, which one is gonna be replaced? Is that the $1 million one, or is it, they're both in Fallen Township, right? that
Right,
need
the one that's, we have one bridge that's closed we have one bridge that's closed in the county. And that's the bridge we're gonna replace this year.
That's that $1 million one?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And that's one on the judicial ditch, JD1.
Yeah, okay.
And then the other one is just north of there. So the problem that we have is they're $1 million, the town bridge account dollars, we only get about 180,000 a year. So that's where the inequity starts to come in, because they have the money, we physically don't have the money.
Okay.
The town bridge account doesn't have the money.
And that's the township will be paying for it.
They pay for the first 20,000.
Yeah, and then the rest is hopefully get the money, so.
Town bridge.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. So there's a couple things I'd like to point out on this. I did something on this resolution. This resolution's a little bit, there's a few more bridges because we did the advanced timber inspection the last few years. It's a really good thing because it's exposing some of the X-ray of the, if you will, of the piling that you wouldn't normally see if you just do your normal physical hammer pounding or whatever. But there's a little footnote at the bottom, right here. That I do want to point out that because we've had a few bridges that we've had to close this year. But if you take this list, and when that bridge gets closed, we have 93 detour miles that this impacts. So the reason that I point that out and the reason that I wanted that calculated is because we're an ag economy. And so if you start, bridges need to remain a priority. Otherwise, we're gonna add other cost. So with that being said, it's my recommendation to consider this resolution of the bridges that need replaced and authorize the chair, I believe the chair and the administrator to sign on behalf of the county. And then what I do with this resolution is I send it to the state, and then we use this in the bridge bonding. And so this is where you can use as a speaking point for money needs on the bridge bonding.
Thank you. Are there any questions, or is there a motion?
I would move on resolution 2026-10.
Thank you,
Sure,
sir.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second discussion. Commissioner Imdack.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Owens, if I'm understanding this correctly, I'm gonna go down to the first line where you have some numbers that are in bold print. So about 2/3 of the way down the page, and go to the second column from the right, there's a number there, $5,246,000. Those dollars are coming from the county state aid highway fund or local funds, correct?
Right, correct.
So how much, when you say local funds, that would be levy dollars?
So the local dollars would be sales tax dollars or levy dollars.
Yep.
That's correct.
And how much of that 5 million, if you can tell me, is county state aid dollars or sales tax or levy dollars?
I don't have that split up. On a county state aid bridge, it's 50-50 funding. It's 50% bridge bonding, 50% county state aid. So if you look, any road that's in the single or double digit would be county state aid. The other ones would be levy dollars.
Full levy. So, if I may go on, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So over just 6 short years, we need to come up with between state aid dollars and levy dollars, $5.25 million to cover this construction.
Right, and then, yeah, there's 40,000 is township dollars, but yes, that would be, and so, yeah, but the one thing that I do wanna point out, if you go over a few columns, there's 5.886 in bonding. If we don't get the bridge bonding, we don't need to worry, unless we wanna fund it higher, we don't. This is where this gets a little more critical.
Yeah, I understand, I'm kind of looking at minimums here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anyone else, Commissioner Berg?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just really want to commend you on this. I know at Public Health, or not Public Health, Public Works Department, Administrator Oden, I think you do an excellent job over these years, and how we plan 5 years ahead on a lot of the roads. And this is even taking it a step further. And I commend you that we put this out there and plan ahead until 2035. And that's a good plan. And I think these are important. I'm not a bricks and mortar person when it comes to needs of the community, but these are safety needs and really important. And we need safe bridges and good roads for our public. It's very important. So thank you for laying that out for us. You know, each year budgets vary as well, but I think we have to have a plan like this. And I really commend the county moving forward. Mr. Thorson is here, I see, and he's laid out some plans for maintenance, kind of similar to that, not quite that far out, but it's nice for the board to see how we're planning ahead and makes our budgeting that much easier.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second to move the approval of Resolution 2026-10. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Mel, thank you so much. And I get to tease him a little bit once in a while because we've known each other since he was the city engineer, so. All right, next item, we're going to have Val Sworer, our assessor, come up, and Val has a fire abatement item for us. Val, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. My name is Val Sabor, the County Assessor. I am bringing before you today, I have a fire abatement for Louise Zeimer. The home was at 1,240th Avenue Northeast in Colfax Township. Parcel number was 12-026-0010. There was a house fire on January 30th of 2025. So we don't bring them to the board until the whole year has passed, so we know what was there on January 2nd as to whether the house was eliminated or if there was a new replacement. They did bring in a new home, but it was not habitable on January 2nd. So what we're looking at is the full months that the people were out of the home during 2025 is what my request is for abatement for the tax dollars on the part of the property where the home was a loss. So it's just on the house, and so the land and all the other outbuildings are still being taxed. The reduction in taxes would be $869. And so this is where I would need a motion from you for approval for reimbursement to them for the $869 while they were out of their home.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Dale Anderson.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the abatement.
Thank you, and
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Dwayne Anderson seconds. Any discussion? Pretty straightforward, so. All right, hearing no discussion, all in favor of the recommendation of staff, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Appreciate it, Val, thank you so much. At this time, we will now hear from our Facility Maintenance Director, Andrew Thorson, and you've got a library roof contract for us.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Andy Thorson, Facilities Maintenance Director for the county. I'm before you this morning seeking authorization to move forward in awarding a contract to the McDowell Company from Wake Park for replacement of the library roof. The roof is original to the construction of the library back in 1999, so it's well past its expected life of 20 to 25 years. The roof has been a topic discussion between the city and county staff for some time now on how and when we can bring this project forward. We explored the feasibility and possibility of doing this project through state contract with Sourcewell. Did our research and brought in Gordian, a national firm that provides cooperative job order contracting, which is a construction procurement solution delivered through cooperative purchasing networks. It allows eligible organizations like us to access pre-bid, competitively awarded contracts to complete projects with verified preset pricing, also keeping in legal compliance with public procurement rules. I understand that the price tag is a little shocking. Library is a beautiful building, but the roof is very complicated. It has 4 main roofs, 4 smaller roofs, and that doesn't include the 5 little bump outs on the east and the south side, which are little tiny roofs amongst themselves. So yeah, it's very labor intensive project. It was also decided to spec a modified built-up roofing system that carries a 30-year warranty. And at the end of the 30-year mark, we can pull off the top layer, replace it. By doing this, we will add another 20-year warranty, bringing it up to a 50-year roof. This is the same roof installed by the same contractor that we used for the law enforcement center 5 years ago. I'm very pleased with that final product. This project is anticipated to start late summer. The city did pass a resolution last night approving the county to enter into a contract with McDowell to complete this work. And with that, I am open for questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Andrew? Commissioner Dwayne Anderson.
Thanks. Maybe you said this and I missed it. When was the last time that roof was repaired or replaced?
Never.
It's never been.
It's original to the building in 1899.
Okay.
Anyone else? Commissioner Imdag.
Yeah, Andy, this is a pretty large bid. I'm wondering why, and I know that going through the co-op purchase agreement makes it so that we don't have to go out for bid, but one this big, wouldn't we want to see what options we have? And we could have still gone to the purchase agreement, co-op purchase agreement, if the bids didn't come back the way we.
I got some unofficial, quotes or estimates from some engineering firms, and we're not far off. Going this way, we don't have to hire an engineer to do this. That's gonna save us between $50,000 and $70,000. So for the ease of it, that's why the city staff and county staff opted to go this direction.
Anyone else? Yeah, I'd, back in my work life, I'd had occasion to use state contracts as well for my clients, and pretty, relatively speaking, pretty advantageous. And especially like you indicate, when we're not having to worry about engineering costs and that sort of thing. You've had good experience with this vendor in the past, so seems reasonable to me. Anyone else? All right, hearing none.
Mr.
Commissioner
Chair?
Berg.
Yes, and this is not new to us. We knew this coming up, and we've had to discuss this for the audience and information as well. We just don't see this today and make a vote on something like this. Getting involved in the details as well. At this point, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this going forward.
Thank you, and we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Andrew, what's, go ahead.
I'm disappointed that we haven't seen a bid, because I think we could get a bid and still go to the co-op purchase agreement if it's low. I mean, this is a big project. I remember a few years ago, we had one roof, I don't remember which roof it was, local contractor, West Central Roofing, came in far below what the other estimates were. And I'm not saying that that would happen in this case, but how do we know if we don't put it out for bids?
Because we would have to do the engineering, so to get a bid, it's gonna cost us between $50,000 and $70,000.
So we'd have to have a bid of less than $1 million to break even.
Yep, and more than likely, they would be speccing a different type of roof also.
And Andrew, what's the breakout of costs, city, county?
It is 60/40. The city is 60%, we are 40%. So our share is already in the capital improvement plan and in the budget for this year.
Okay. All right, anyone else? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the library roof project contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Andy. This time we'll have Caroline Kahn approach her. She is our Health and Human Services Director. And Caroline, you have a Health and Human Services contract. You and Scott talked about this last.
We did. So, good morning, Caroline Kahn, Health and Human Services Director for Candiota County. Last meeting, we had the opportunity to walk through a proposed partnership with TIPCO to explore the possibility of bringing in an AI automated phone system to our Health and Human Services Department to help streamline our work and create efficiencies in the ways that we serve our community and our staff at the same time. So today I wanted to bring forward the contract and how that could look for our department and moving forward in that work. Before you are two options. One would be moving forward with a one-year agreement, which is laid out at that 85.5. And then the opportunity to pre-purchase for 2 years, which is where the Exhibit C would come in, which would allow for that fluctuation of if our calls exceeded 25%, then we would see an increase in cost. And if they decreased, if they were lower than expected, then we would see a savings and applied to a future contract. So Exhibit C, I wanted to be transparent. It was only apply if we chose to take advantage of doing a pre-purchase for 2 years for the possibility of maximizing federal reimbursement during this time. So the agreement really walks through the expectations on both parties, how we agree to use their software, how they agree to support us in the use of their software moving forward, and the work through the deployment and creation of our system for our department. So today, the staff recommendation would be to move forward with the 2-year option and the opportunity to maximize our federal reimbursement with the uncertainties of how that might look moving forward with the beginning of a new fiscal year, federal fiscal year in October.
Thank you. Any questions for Caroline? Commissioner Imdeck?
So is this a 2-year contract then? I see 2026 at 85.5 and 2027 at 74.25.
Correct. That would be, so each year we could lump sum and pre-purchase the 2 years, and that would be for a 2-year contract, or we could just go with the 1 year at the 85.5, and that's, the difference is that 1 year, one-time setup fee of $15,000. So again, we wanted to provide the opportunity to show what the 2-year pre-purchase option would be. We could just go with 1 year if desired. And
So again, if I'm understanding, if we go right away to 2 years, it's $74,000 a year instead of $85,000 a year.
no,
Is that how
the first year would remain the 85.5, and the next year would be 74.25 for a total of 159. It would just give us the opportunity to purchase that or pay for it all at one time to maximize that federal reimbursement of 50% right now, when it will go to 25% in October.
Okay, thank you. So right now, the federal reimbursement would cover half the total of 159.
Correct.
Anyone else?
Mr.
Commissioner Berg?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe could you elaborate a little bit further on what EVA is? A lot of people, some of us or most of us have been really involved in this, and I think it's an excellent idea. I do have my concerns, though, about the cost, the ongoing cost, and I do agree that as well that we should maybe be looking at a 2-year contract to get into this, but so I got several questions. If you can tell us a little bit more, but then after that, to address some of the financial impact of that and liability. And I just want to be sure that Candido County Attorney, Mr. Baker, if he had a chance to take a look at the 50-page contract.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yep. All of our contracts do go through
Yes.
a
Thank you. I
vetting
just wanted to be
process
clear on
and
that.
the review before they come to you.
Yes.
And so we have gone through a work session, and then previously we went through, so if I go too far into the re-explanation, you'll have to let me know, but I'll just kind of recap what we've
please do that.
discussed. So EVA, or TIPCO, provides an automated phone system that sits at the beginning of our phone line. So currently, when you call into our Candy Ojai County Health and Human Services line, you're greeted with an automated dialer that asks you to press 1, press 2 for your next option, and it goes through an automated number pressing system to help you reach your intended destination. With this new platform, you will be greeted by a warm voice that says, "Hello, my name is Eva. Thank you for calling Candy Ojai County. I'm an AI-generated system here to help," or "How may I help?" You can say, "I'm looking for food assistance," and then she can help walk through some questions and help get you to the right destination, or she can help you complete applications. One of the great advantages of a platform such as this is she can serve our community outside of the normal business hours that we employ staff. So if a time for an individual to ask questions or seek information or fill out an application or have assistance filling out an application is convenient for them at 9 p.m., they can have the support and assistance that they need or require at that time, where currently we don't have that availability due to our staffing timeframes. Another benefit of this type of a system is the opportunity to automatically roll into preferred language. If you begin speaking to Eva in Spanish, she will begin communicating to you in Spanish right away. Eva is a closed system. She doesn't generate information. So she's not similar to what you're experiencing with ChatGPT, where she will create answers for you. She will only source things that we provide to her. So we are very intentional as to how we're looking at building that and working with our partners and inviting them to the table to say, what would you like her to point to on your behalf? So we can use her as a community asset and resource to help build that benefit for our community as well. So Scott and I have worked really intentional on these forefront conversations and starting to introduce this to our team here at Health and Human Services and our county department heads as to how this could evolve over time to be not only a resource for our department, but a resource for the county in general.
Mr. Chair. Very good. Thank you. And going over this so well, it takes our level of service in that area to a whole different level. And I think it's going to provide so much better services for the people in our community after hours, and the language interpretation instantly. It's a great service to look at, and I think it's important. And I believe Stearns County has already implemented this.
Yep, Stearns County and Olmsted County are already farther ahead in their crawl walk stage. I do want to be transparent. Nothing is perfect, right? But the benefit also of EVA is that we will have a dashboard that we can monitor the calls and see what worked well, what didn't. Did she send them in the right direction? If not, what needs to change next time? And we'll see what people are calling for. So we'll have a better pulse as to what the needs of the community are, or in the needs of yesterday, when we started the day in a partial government shutdown. All of our calls were related to concerns of, is my SNAP turning off? Because that's what happened in the last shutdown. There's a lot of heightened concerns within the community. We would be able to answer up to 1,000 calls at one time to ease the concerns of the community in a consistent, empathetic way with a service like that.
Yeah, just follow up.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Just one more follow-up comment, that this really looks to be a win-win situation, because on the other flip side of that too, it is going to save some time of some of our staff so they can get some other jobs done as well as save some money. But important, we're providing better service to the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Imbeck.
Thank you. So I grew up in Stearns County, and I've been visiting with my colleagues in Stearns County. And I asked him, I said, well, does Eva understand Stearns County Plattdeutsch? And they assured me that they could speak Stearns County.
I don't know if I do, but I'm glad she's figured it out.
But one of the things that I think I heard you say it just in the last minute or so. You could, sir, you gave the example of someone calling in on a SNAP question. If at the same time, someone in another language called in on a Medicaid question or an eligibility question, they don't have to wait till Eva's done with the SNAP question. That one can be done concurrently.
As long as they weren't the 1,001th caller.
Okay. And so that leads me to believe that this will, should be able to create an efficiency not only for the clients that are calling in, who might want to do it at 9 o'clock at night because they went to work early in the morning and that's when they have time, but also should free up our staff and potentially reduce some FTEs for us down in that department. I mean, that's what a lot of the concern is actually for AI, is that it's going to eliminate some jobs, and in some cases, that's a good thing, when we don't have enough staff to cover an area.
Yeah, to speak to that, right now, the goal of EVA is to create space within the staff that we already have and not have to come asking for additional staff in the future. As our requirements are continuing to shift with federal and state mandates continuing to evolve, we see the need for increased staffing on the horizon. So this will hopefully be a way in which we'll offset that need in the future. So we do see the potential of great efficiencies within the staff that we already have to free up time within their work so that they can start meeting those new mandates without having to add additional FTEs.
And I would dare say that certainly we're going to see some of that time savings. But given, and I just want to point out the cover of the Minnesota Counties magazine this month, talking about a system on the edge, which is all of the different antiquated programs that our eligibility workers and others have to use to work with the state of Minnesota. These are state systems that are literally old DOS-based green screens. So for us to be adopting something like this is certainly a step in the right direction, but we will probably not need to reduce FTEs in the near future, even with AI, because once they fix this, our folks will be much more efficient in the work that they do. But that's something that we have to be working on with our partners at the legislature too. Commissioner Dale Anderson.
I just want to thank you very much for presenting this. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I look at it is that if we can answer 1,000 calls at one time, I mean, there's a lot of people that call and they get a busy signal or get put down the chain and it doesn't eventually get to somebody. So the fact that we can actually answer all them calls at the same time, to me, is the biggest thing. And the night calling is especially important. I don't know how many times that I've sitting there doing work and all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock and I missed a chance to call somebody and I should have done that. So I think it gives them a great opportunity for the people that are working to have that chance to make that call and get that question answered. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the TIPCO EVA contract for 2 years with the Health and Human Services.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. There's a motion and a second to approve the recommendation of staff and approve the contract. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I do have a request to take a short break at this time, and then we'll reconvene in 10 minutes.
IT, are you ready?
Thank you, everyone, and the Candy Ojai County Board of Commissioners is back in session. And at this time, again, this is a discussion that will be limited solely to the 287G agreement. And at this time, we'll request Sheriff Tollefson to come up and present before the board, provide an overview of that program. And Sheriff Tollefson, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it, and please
bet.
begin.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chair and Board, Kelsey, Shane. Eric Tollefson, Canada County Sheriff. So, as you stated, Mr. Gardner, I'm going to be up here talking a little bit about what's called the 287G program. I think for the interest of more of a productive discussion, I think I should give probably a background, historical, I shouldn't say historical, probably over the last 18 months of kind of our thought process and how we arrived here. I promise not to get too deep into my brain because that might be a scary thing. Anyway, so probably about 18 months ago, I had a correctional officer approach me and had just released an individual who had been on some severe charges like criminal sexual conduct or something. I can't exactly remember what. And the individual had a civil detainer in their file. So this was a request, and I had never heard of these things before. Not only was I relatively new to running a jail, which has been a huge learning curve for me, but I wasn't familiar with this type of thing. So the correctional officer went on to state that, yeah, there's a request from immigration that this person be detained until they were able to come to our facility and take them into federal custody. However, the person had been, I think sentenced to time served or whatever the case was. And whenever someone gets released from jail, we technically have, I think, until 11:59 p.m. that day for them to walk out the door. So generally speaking, when you're released, whether someone bails you out or you're RPR'd or you plead guilty and you get sentenced to time already served or whatever, there's a process. I mean, you gotta be processed out of jail. You gotta get your old clothes back. You gotta get your meds right. I mean, it's a booking out process. So it's not rapid. And jails are busy. So sometimes things happen. All of a sudden there's a multitude of arrests that come in. So anyway, that being the case, ICE wasn't able to get there in time to take the person in custody. They left the facility because they were released. And the agents ultimately did go out into the community and find this person ultimately. I don't know if it was a day or two later. But anyway, this correctional officer brought this to my attention. I thought, well, that's interesting. And so I started doing a little looking into that. And of course, the first thing that when you start looking into this is you see the Nobles County decision 2019, where their jail held someone on a civil detainer, and then they were ultimately sued for civil rights violation, I think a Fourth Amendment violation. So it wasn't, they didn't commit a crime. However, there lacked statutory authority in Minnesota in order to hold someone on these detainers. I thought that was an interesting concept because we routinely arrest people at the request of probation officers who are out in the community who may have a dirty UA, may have violated their probation in some way, shape, or form, and a probation officer will assign an apprehension and detention. It's not a judicial warrant, but it's something that we'll routinely go and find somebody out in the community, take them into custody, bring them to jail, and hold them up to 72 hours, not including holidays and weekends. So as you can see, I'm kind of looking at these things and I'm like, well, this is interesting. I have another law enforcement agency is requesting that I hold somebody past, their scheduled release from local charges. And because the detainers ask that it's a request, it's not a demand. They ask that we hold the person up to 48 hours until they can arrive and take them into custody. Anyway, So the Nobles County decision was like, okay, that's interesting. It's, obviously we can't do that, so that's why they leave. I talked with my jail administrator. He says the same thing. I said, well, how often are we, releasing people that are on these detainers? And it's pretty sporadic. I mean, maybe 2 times a year, maybe 4, something like that. I mean, it's not real common. Oftentimes, the federal agents are able to get to our facility in time for them to be taken into custody. Unfortunately, after the Nobles County decision, there's a bit of anxiety with staff. When they know someone has a detainer and they make the phone call and say, hey, so-and-so's getting released here, they just got bailed out. Yeah, we're not able to make it, so, or, they know that if they intentionally delay the release of that person, they're subject to civil litigation. So that's a level of anxiety that staff is, experiencing as a result. So unfortunately, they're pushing through this release. You don't want to do that because mistakes can get made and, whatnot. So jails are a very complex place. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go wrong if you don't do your job well. Anyway, so we just sort of sat on that. And then about February 2025, the jail administrator came to me and said, hey, this 287G program is back and available again. And I'm like, well, what's that? So we, of course, started doing a little bit more research and realized that, this is a program that allows cooperation between, or the delegation, I should say, of certain federal authority to local law enforcement. Upon looking into this, realized that it was originally implemented in 1996 under Bill Clinton as part of the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of '96. Initially, it was in place to allow task force type agreements between local law enforcement and federal agents on the immigration side. We've been doing task force agreements with federal authorities for years, normally with sex trafficking and drug trafficking cases. Lots of times what happens is local law enforcement gets deputized federally in order for them to narrowly enforce federal law while they're working on this task force. All right, the 287G program brought that system into the realm of immigration. So while looking into this, realized that upwards of 40 states have agencies that have agreements under 287G. 9 states actually have laws in place that allow for the enforcement of civil detainers by local law enforcement, one of them being Iowa. So there's a very broad variety of different models out there. Hopefully I'm not boring you here, but I think it's important that I get all of this out there. So anyway, and back to the reason, I don't think I mentioned that, the reason that we're able to take folks into custody on probation violations is because there's Minnesota statute in place that allows for that arrest to take place. So we don't have a statute in place in Minnesota to allow us to enforce civil immigration detainers. So anyway, under the 287G, there's 3 models available. There's a task force model, which allows for, that's probably the most robust, that allows for actual personnel to be trained to go out into the field and work alongside federal law enforcement. All right, hence the task force. There's a jail enforcement model, which allows for jails to actively do investigations into the staff or into the inmate population within the jail, book people in under federal charges and that kind of thing. And then there's the warrant service officer model, which is what I signed. And that oftentimes has been referred to as 287G light. I don't know, because it's a pretty low-level involvement. And what that, so we looked into that. We contacted my jail administrator at the time. He's since retired, but contacted Homeland Security, talked to some people, got some background. We said, hey, we don't want deputies doing this. Since we already house for immigration, it makes sense to participate in this program where we can allow for a controlled, smooth transition from local custody into federal custody. And so we asked, can we have unlicensed correctional officers do this? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So what it involved was 8 hours of online training at their own pace for each officer. They have to complete a background investigation, a federal one, which they do, and then take a written test and then pass that, of course. And then they, in a sense, and for lack of a better word, become deputized to serve these detainers under federal law. So this was in about February 25, we were having this discussion. I said, hey, no money really, I mean, involved in this. It's a very low-level type of a thing. It's basically sending correctional officers to training to do another job task. This would, in our mind, would allow, again, for the controlled, smooth transition with folks that are already in on significant criminal backgrounds to be transferred from local custody into federal custody once they're released. And that could take place within the jail. And that was another, these agreements have a very, very narrow scope of operation. This particular one only allows for the enforcement or the serving of these detainers. There's 2 specific detainers within the 4 walls of the secure facility. So in a jail setting, that is only in the area that generally the public isn't allowed to be in. It's the jail, not in the lobby, not in the parking lot, not down the street. We have no authority to do that. Plus, the people that are being trained are not cops. So we're like, hey, this is kind of makes sense, right? And then at the end of the day, it's only gonna happen, 2 to 4 times a year anyway. So I mean, if any, but at least we have that. So reasoning there, lessen anxiety on staff. Correctional officers firmly believe if another law enforcement agency wants somebody, it's their duty to hold them for them. We hold people for other agencies all the time. And for other states and whatnot. So we thought that was a good thing. It also would lessen the instances of immigration officers coming into our community and finding these people. Because to our knowledge, everyone that we had released before they got here, they went and found them. So, I mean, there's that. So, I mean, that's always a potential for, it's always safer to take someone into custody in a controlled environment versus out on the street or somewhere, right? So, I can touch a little bit more. Currently, so I talked about, the certification process. So during the course of this, of course, and this is another reason I think a lot of people are probably here, is our Attorney General started issuing opinions on this particular matter. And his first opinion came out in February 6th of 2025. And that one was simply, local law enforcement in Minnesota has no authority to detain somebody in a civil immigration detainer. Yep, already knew that. Did the research, but that's all it was. So it's like, hence why we decided to go with the warrant service officer program to then, in our mind, like, okay, this is, makes sense and okay, anyway. So everything's fine and so to speak in my world, I guess. And then in September 19th of 25, the Attorney General issues another opinion. Now in this one, that's when he sent the letter saying that he's going to issue a formal opinion October 15th. And the letter was real brief. It just said, hey, your agreement is null and void because you didn't go before the county board because it falls under the joint powers agreement and all this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, perfectly aware that whenever I enter into a contract, that's going to be a significant drain on taxpayer dollars or an allocation of resources that I bring before the board. I've brought several contracts before the board, whether it be for food service at the jail or medical at the jail or the contracts we have with the towns for police protection and that kind of thing. Those all involve the allocation of time, money, and resources. I was like, I'm sending people to 8 hours of training, and they're gonna serve a paper. I mean, instead of handing an inmate a roll of toilet paper, they're gonna hand them a detainer, So anyway, so that was interesting. So of course I brush up on the joint powers agreement statute, which I had never read before. And so anyway, I read that and I'm like, okay, I can see how it kind of fits to a certain degree. So I guess I can agree with that opinion to a certain degree, but I can also see the other side of it. But anyway, at the end of the day, and this is also important, aside from filling out the paperwork in this process and looking for volunteers, and we had 14 correctional officers that volunteered to do this, it sort of just fell by the wayside. I think it became a pretty low priority for the federal government because no training was offered. When we would reach out to our contacts, they're like, yeah, we're working on it, and there's a lot of things going, you know, we're just, so it was like, obviously, it's been, so as of right now, as I stand here, we're not even doing it. So I mean, it's just nobody's gone to the training. But anyway, so we're just kind of sitting there. But in December 12th, the AG issued his his second opinion, actually. And he went into detail, basically saying these are the, obviously the Nobles County case and a Carver County case indicated that we can't enforce the detainers. This agreement, this contract falls under the joint powers law in his opinion, so you need board approval. However, even if you get board approval, you still can't enforce them. So I was like, well, what's the point of this 5-page letter? You know, I mean, honestly, you just got done telling us, it's like, hey, we got to do this step and this step to make it valid. But even if it is valid, you still can't do it. And I'm like, okay, well, this has got to be decided by a higher court, obviously. In the meantime, recently now, Freeborn County is the subject of a civil litigation by the ACLU and 4 members of the community down there because Freeborn had actually signed the same agreement, was in the same boat as us. And so that currently just got removed from the local court to the federal court. So we're kind of just sitting there waiting to see what happens, because until I think a higher court rules on this, and then we can take another look at it. But and just for reference, currently we have 6 people in our jail on local charges that have they either have detainers in place or their detainer status is pending. That means that they're in the process of issuing it. One is in on 4, excuse me. One is in on 4 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct. Another one is in on threats of violence, a felony, domestic assault, misdemeanor, and a fraudulent identification. Third one is in on first-degree DWI, which is a felony, driving asked for cancellation, inimical to public safety. I think they've had 3 DUIs in less than 24 months. Another one is in on DUI, theft, domestic assault, and 5th-degree assault. The 5th one is in on motor vehicle theft, first-degree criminal damage to property, and a hit and run. And the 6th one is in on 2 counts of second-degree criminal sexual conduct, which is also a felony. So we had 7, but one got had a warrant from another county, so they were moved to another county. But so, questions, anyone? Clarification? How long did that take?
Commissioner Reddeck and then Commissioner Berg.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, first of all, Sheriff Tolleson, I want to thank you for the explanation. You and I visited for half an hour yesterday, and so I'm hearing most of this a second time, and I know for the public it's a little bit hard to digest because yesterday wasn't the first time you and I visited about this, and it takes a little while to understand it all. These are really interesting times for you and us. I don't think we've ever seen these kind of things before, and so I applaud you for being here and giving us this explanation. But I do have a couple of questions, well, more than a couple, but to start with, I understand that right now, nothing is being done. So these 6 individuals that you just referenced, because do I understand that you haven't been trained yet because the federal government has not made the resource available?
Correct, yeah, the training hasn't been offered. That's the next step. Well, actually, the 14 correctional officers that submitted their background information, that got sent to Washington or somewhere, and we haven't got any word back on that either. So I'm guessing it's sitting on someone's desk somewhere.
So even if you wanted to, and the question of whose jurisdiction it is, the county boards or the sheriffs, you couldn't do that work because you haven't been trained yet.
Right, no one has received certification, correct.
And so those folks that you just listed, who I think everybody in this room and probably everybody in this county would agree probably should not be turned loose, you'd be forced to turn them loose if somebody came in and paid their bail tomorrow if the reason they're not on the street is because they haven't made bail yet. Am I understanding that correctly?
Correct. And there's been some things in the news. I know Paul Schnell, Director of Corrections, has made it clear, and this is where it gets kind of, people are, they politicize this, and I try not to, our mission remains consistent regardless of who's in office. So but he made the statement that, well, the Department of Corrections complies with all of these detainers. We've never had a case where we've let somebody go and they weren't taken into federal custody. Well, that's really easy when you work in a system where you know exactly many months in advance the exact minute that they're gonna walk out the door. In a jail setting, one of these people could be bailed out in 10 minutes. And we'll make a phone call to the number down in St. Paul and say, hey, so-and-so that you have a detainer on, that just got bailed out. Yeah, we're 2 hours away, we're not gonna make it. So, I mean, that's the difference. It's not that, and there's been a lot of rhetoric out there about, counties not complying and, and then the feds issued a naughty list of jails that didn't comply. I mean, it's all, it's just news, and at the end of the day, it's like, no, we have to let them go. I mean, they've been released, so, but yeah, and so, but again, when I look back at the prior instances of us releasing them where they didn't get here to pick them up in time, they've gone around and found them, so.
But to be clear, because you haven't been trained, and you get this 10-minute notice, the only way, I mean, you can't hold them because you haven't been trained. And the only way that ICE could pick them up is if they're already sitting in the community and maybe they're over at, some parking lot waiting, doing some scouring. And they could get there in the 10 minutes. Otherwise, you'd have to leave them, you'd have to release them anyway. Is that how I'm understanding it?
Correct, yep, and we have recently, I think, as October released one, so. But yeah, correct. And even so, like I mentioned, even if they had been trained, now of course the question has come to light from the Attorney General as to whether or not we still can anyways. So that's, again, it's the Attorney General's opinion. It's not legally binding or anything like that, but it does open the question then. So then, I mean, ideally, one of two things could happen. There could be a court ruling that would remedy it, or Minnesota would enact legislation to allow it like Iowa or somewhere else. But anyway, that's where we're at.
And if I may continue, thank you. And you references the three different forms of 287G, the task force, the jail enforcement, the warrant service. And again, I've heard it 3 times now, so I think it's maybe worth some time to spend talking about this a little bit. So the task force would say your deputies or whoever has been deputized could go out and do the same work that ICE is currently doing in the community if that model was chosen.
Correct.
Okay, and if the training had been available and you would have done the training, you would have had to been trained first, I imagine.
I didn't, not the task force model.
Not the task,
No, I
okay.
had no interest in that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And in the jail enforcement one, if I understood that one, that is where you possibly would go through the jail records and scour those records to see if they had some sort of charge in another jurisdiction. Is that what that?
I think it allows for local staff to do the interview and the intake process, which we don't do. Like under our current housing agreement, all of the intake and interviews are done by federal agents because it's a very, very complex thing. So I think, I didn't really, research
you weren't
that
interested.
model. Correct, not at all.
Okay.
No.
And then the warrant service model is just that ability, if it ever gets enacted, if you ever get trained, is that ability to say, look, this individual's getting released in 2 days. If you're not here to pick them up within 2 days, we still would have to release them after 48 hours, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner Berg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I got several questions, and maybe I'll just start with some of this and then let some other people talk or ask questions too. But first off, I really want to thank you for being here today. I really appreciate this. I really appreciate this communication. Had we had this communication earlier, I could have answered a lot of other questions that I didn't know how to answer them. And I'm also struggling even more so we get into this as a county commissioner, what is our role and our authority in this whole thing as well? And our responsibilities, and do we have one? And that's undecided at this point, where I understand it had not been advised one way other than an opinion. that we should be concerned, and as a board, our concern is always about the fiscal responsibility. You know, is this embedded from that point of view, the risk that we would have being a lawsuit? And we know that are happening, as you mentioned. But also, I want to just comment that I've been thinking about this a lot it's in the last few weeks. And I tried to put myself in your shoes, and it's pretty hard to do because I'm not in your shoes and I can't do that. But I do recognize that I know you and I've communicated with you many times over the years. And the Candido County Board has had a good reputation of being very supportive of our police forces that we have, both on the sheriff level and our collaboration with the local City of Willmar Police Department. I think we're moving forward really well as a community, and I see that collaboration to continue. But I know you're really busy, but I really appreciate your being here, and this more information we get, I think we appreciate being informed of this as much until this gets all sorted out. Whose responsibilities is whose responsibility, let's put it that way, going forward. So it's a tough struggle, and I appreciate, and you're taking your job very serious, and you're trying to do the very best job. I know that, and your people that work for you as well. And we're lucky to have them. They do care about the policing. They do care about our community a lot. And I know this is a tough time for you as well. But it's also a tough time for everybody else as we're going forward. Going back to the agreement, it is almost like it's on pause. Well, maybe a couple of questions about the agreement, too. It sounds like, and just to be clear for the public's information, you have the authority, you do continue to contact ICE of somebody here that's illegal. You can call them up and say, you got so-and-so in jail, correct? And that takes place on a regular basis on when that comes up. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit?
So just to probably head off a few questions that
Sure.
may have result here. So the question of immigration or immigration status doesn't ever come into the equation when we have contact with people on the street or they're reporting a crime or it's a traffic stop
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Right.
Doesn't even come in.
And that's what I meant, just the people in the jail that's being held there.
But if you do get arrested for a crime, that would be to the level that you get brought into jail. And, you know, you don't get brought to jail for parking tickets. You don't get brought to jail for running a stop sign. You get brought to jail, probably the lowest level offense you're gonna get brought to jail for is a first-time DWI. And oftentimes you're hold till sober and released, or you're released that same evening to a sober party. Sometimes your release is delayed over the weekend, but that would probably be your lowest level, you know, like your misdemeanor level offense where you're actually being taken into custody. You're not taken into custody for driving after revocation. You're not taken into custody for driving after suspension. So for you to be taken into custody, it's gotten to the point now where it's got to be a relatively significant crime. Having said that, oftentimes it's part of the booking process then. The country of origin and your citizenship status is a question in the booking process. There's several reasons behind that. I'm aware there's international treaties in place that do require that question to be asked for certain countries. There are certain countries that require that we notify their consulate if we have one of their citizens in custody. I'm not sure why, but that's just the way it is. So there's several reasons why that happens. Nothing really gets done with that. Immigration authorities have access to our booking records, which everybody else does. They continuously monitor this kind of stuff. And oftentimes, if it's somebody that they're interested in that's in our custody, they will issue the detainer by email. Sometimes as quickly as 3 days, oftentimes it's been months later. So I don't know their criteria exactly for issuing them, but I do know that they do come electronically, so we do receive them. They ask that we give the inmate a copy, which we do, and then they also ask, do you have any idea when they're gonna get released? Oftentimes we don't know. We say, well, they have a settlement conference for February 5th, but they're not sure what's gonna happen there. You know, plus you got the potential that they're gonna get bailed out, so regardless. So, but that's, I don't know if that helps answer your question, but that's.
Yes, I think it did.
Okay, good.
Yeah, okay. as a follow-up then, at this point, you mentioned that some other states are operating at this level that you're proposing or that you contracted in with on the 287G. In the state of Minnesota, are there other counties that have been trained, or is anybody actually operating under this same contract or similar contract that we have at this point in time? Any other counties?
Not the warrant service officer.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the same boat that signed up. They haven't received the training. So it's been consistent. I've been in contact with the other sheriffs that have signed the same thing, and yeah, that's the case is it's just sort of nothing happening right now.
And how many counties have signed?
The warrant service officer, I think there's like 4 for sure, but then some other counties signed the task force model. And then one county has actually implemented the task force model and is actively doing it. So. But and again too, like I said earlier, the Freeborn County lawsuit, I think, is what we're paying attention to. I'm paying attention to right now. I'm real interested in what happens there. So.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, yeah, and I'm very interested in that as well, too, because I want to know if it's in the county commissioners or the county boards wheelhouse that we should be weighing in on this or not even. And I want to know what our role is, but I am concerned about the financial impact of this, in case any lawsuit ever connected, because if they sue the federal government, or they're going to sue us as well if something goes wrong with that. But it doesn't sound like the risk is very high. Am I correct?
Well, I mean, that's in my line of work, that's certainly an unknown. So, I mean, but if, in my opinion, and of course I would have more in-depth conversation with Shane and whatnot, but I think, yeah, I mean, if a higher court does, rule that this, is okay, then yeah, probably. But, yeah, it's kind of unknown right now until we get a court decision on it, I think, or something. But it's certainly brought to light. Let's just say since the inception of this concept, as I explained earlier, a lot has come to light and a lot of, things, additional information has popped up, so that we need to consider.
Okay, Mr. Chair. Well, I think I'll get some other people a chance to talk.
Thank you, Commissioner Dale Anderson, and then Commissioner Dwayne Anderson.
Eric, thank you very much for coming in and being put in the hot seat. That's what I call that podium, is a hot seat. So
I've been in worse, so.
yeah. But I think the one thing that, I want to say is thanks for answering my phone call, because I called you and asked you clarifications on questions that I'd been getting through emails and phone calls. And I think the one thing that you haven't touched on, and I think is very important and probably is the biggest thing of why all these people are in this room is can you just touch on some of your community involvement and your engagement into this issue, as far as discussion things that you've had with groups or conversations that you've had, just kind of what you've done or what the Sheriff's Department has done as far as trying to help answer questions?
Sure. So since, I think within the last little over a year now, we've met regularly. So the Sheriff's Association, the Minnesota Chiefs of Police Association, along with our federal partners, have had meetings, almost weekly at times, depending upon what's going on. Any time I've been invited to speak at an organization and touch on these topics, I have had multiple one-on-one conversations with folks. You guys have probably heard me say this before, after going through a campaign, I firmly believe that one-on-one conversations with people is far more effective. I still believe that. Not that I'm opposed to doing what I'm doing right now, that's fine. Or either community organizations and that kind of thing. I didn't keep a specific list. I just know it's taken a lot of my time over the last several months, particularly since probably, September, when that final opinion came out from the Attorney General. I think that brought it into the light a little bit more, or under people's scrutiny. So I have fielded a lot of questions, and a lot of individual contacts and that kind of thing. So yeah, I've never turned anybody down. Let's just say that, and but again too, I haven't and I don't believe in doing this, I haven't taken this issue and made it a talking point on social media or even to the regular media. Because I think it's, and some people have, I think, criticized me and said, well, you're just keeping your head in the sand. Well, I'm the exact opposite. We're doing everything we can, meeting with our federal partners and whatnot behind the scenes. Because if I see issues with another agency or something like that, I don't post those concerns on social media. I contact their boss. And that's what we do. We go about it in a professional, controlled manner, and I find it far more effective. Unfortunately, there's some people, I think, that want me to take a stance or something like that. I'm apolitical. I mean, I serve both sides of the aisle every day. We walk out, my folks walk out the door every morning, they leave their political affiliation, their religious affiliation, every other ideology behind them, and they go to work. And we have to do that to be fair and impartial. But sometimes we make mistakes, and I'll be the first to admit that. We are human, so, but yeah.
I follow. Well, and that's what I was hoping, just to let people know that you are out in the community and out helping out. But I mean, I think the big thing that I wanted to say to you is, you know, thanks for what you've been doing, and thanks for all the sheriffs and all the people that are in corrections and everybody that's involved in this. You know, a lot of stress. I can't really imagine trying to go out and do your job. You know, I think you as Sheriff Department and the city police have worked timelessly to try to get a good working relationship with people in our community. And I have a real fear that maybe we've lost a lot of that right now. So I know it's a lot of work to keep that relationship going, and thanks for all you've done to do that. I think you guys have done a great job with that, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, and just to appreciate that, Dale, and, but, you know, so you know, like, the leaders in the Somali community, the Latino community, they have my cell phone number, and they have no problem calling me, and they do. So, I mean, we have direct lines of communication, and we're on a first-name basis, and we talk through these things. And then they bring it back to their communities. And I think that's also important to note. So we have been doing that. And also, I appreciate you notice, I mean, you know, the stress on my staff, but, you know, this has been very stressful for everybody. Okay, so I mean, I just need to say that, it's not just us, so.
Commissioner Dwayne Anderson.
So you mentioned that the Attorney General has issued an opinion. Does that mean it's in court then, or is that
No.
just his opinion and then? Okay.
Takes into account case law and,
Okay, so unless that gets litigated or brought into court, that's gonna just kind of stay in limbo then, basically, right?
I think that's all it, and Shane can chime in, but I think that's all it is. It's just, he does research and formulates an opinion, but it's not legally binding, and this is more Shane's arena than mine, so.
Okay, all right. Well, I just, you know, I'm on that drug task force committee, and
Yep.
I'm one of the least informed there because I don't have a gun with me. But anyway, I hear what you guys deal with as far as that goes, you know, which is a separate issue, but I just appreciate what you guys do, and I feel like I'm just there because I'm one of the people in the fan club, I guess, so I thank you guys for what you do, so.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Commissioner Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to go back to the board's role and where we're going with this, but also to address there is a lawsuit taking place, and it is an active lawsuit that's going to court, and that's what we're waiting to hear, that Freeborn County, and that'll help define the role of the county board as well as your role in these contracts. Am I correct?
I hope so, yeah.
Hope so, and we can move forward. Okay, but the good news is to find out, and I think talking individually is really nice, but also the way things work, the way government works is, you know, we have an open meeting law on a county level, and so other than maybe one other person, I do not have this discussion with the board, and so by you coming here on a regular basis and updating us, we can have these discussions so I can kind of understand where other people have questions on the board that I probably haven't even thought of, and so there's really good value in us having these kind of discussions. Also, these are really, even though the community is not able to ask any questions or comments, they feel more informed too. And I think this value that we're doing right now is good, and I appreciate it very much. But going forward, I'm kind of wondering too why they kind of paused this almost themselves. It's been, what, almost 9 months going on since the contract was signed, and it's not been implemented. And I'm glad to hear that right now, because I don't think timing is really good to implement it at this point. But I think we're waiting to see what comes out of this whole thing. And it's not necessarily up to the board's decision if we vote on that to implement it or not. I kind of have a gut feeling, because of the financial impact, that we should have some say in this, and for sure. But going forward now that we're waiting to hear, or if the implementation takes place, I'd like to request that you come back to the board as soon as you can to give us an update, if you would. Let us know that, yes, they are moving forward with this. We are going to start implementing this now, or a court decision was made. I would just really would appreciate that very much, to keep that communication going.
No, without a doubt. And I think, like I said earlier, that a lot of additional questions have been posed and additional information needs that we were completely unaware of, 8 months ago. So, in different ways of looking at things. So, yeah, absolutely. Well, nothing will just get sprung on anybody. So, and that, and like I said, that's why I gave the in-depth, lengthy background into what we were thinking here. I mean, this wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. This wasn't something like, yeah, rah, let's do this. It was a process of
Yeah, we didn't know that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well,
Yeah, thank you.
I do a lot of that, so.
Commissioner Imdeck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of things, and this is really not questions or comments for the sheriff necessarily, but to those of us on the dais here. As I read this contract, and I read it 2 times, I'm not a lawyer, but it does appear that the federal government is shifting some liability onto the county. I'm under the ICE supervision, it says, no, I'm in the wrong spot here. Under letter H of the contract, says liability and responsibility. It says LEA, law enforcement personnel, with regard to their property or personal expenses incurred by reason of death, injury, or incidents giving rise to liability, is gonna be the law enforcement, local law enforcement's, or the county's liability. They're passing the buck on a couple of things, and if you get to the implementation of this, all the costs involved, if there is costs of transferring and training and uniforms, are gonna be the responsibility of local law enforcement. In my opinion, if we're going to be facilitating this, the county should be reimbursed for those expenses and indemnified for the liabilities. And again, I'm not a lawyer, you're not a lawyer, I don't expect to, I assume County Attorney Baker has reviewed this fairly thoroughly, and, but I think because we have the fiduciary responsibility for the county, it is something that gives me a little bit of pause.
Right, and so this text in this MOA is identical for all 3 programs. So of course, the task force model would, a lot of these things would come into play.
Higher risk, yeah.
Yeah, there's no changing of uniforms, there's no additional overtime, there's enough staff that volunteered for it, so if this ever happens, and like I said, maybe 2 or 4 times a year, that there's gonna be someone on duty who can just legally serve them with the paperwork. Through our housing agreement, we already get reimbursed for any transportation through that, so that's taken care of.
So what
So
comes,
I did look at all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I said, what does this involve? I mean, is this huge? I mean, we don't send them anywhere for training. They can do it from a computer terminal while they're on regular duty, overnight shift when things are slow. The written test is done, again, at our office. Nobody's gotta travel anywhere, get a hotel room. I mean, so from a financial commitment, it's probably one of the lowest level things that I've ever signed. So, and when you talk about liability, I mean, Commissioner Berg mentioned getting sued and that kind of thing. pretty much every decision I make or my staff makes out on the road can result in civil litigation.
Well, I'm
So,
just,
I
I'm
mean,
just
I
sitting
don't-
here thinking
I don't know how
about,
to answer that.
well, I'm just thinking about who's paying the legal bill for Freeborn County right now. Is it the property owners of Freeborn County in the lawsuit that they're involved with?
I
I'm
would
guessing
imagine
probably
either-
it is.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and so that is a concern about the liability issue that any county, including Catanzaro County, would face in this.
Right.
Eric, first of all, again, thank you for being here today. And so I just kind of want to go back over a couple of different points. I know there's a county up north of us, about 2 hours, that is doing that most robust piece of the 287G and working right alongside of law enforcement, of the federal agents. Nothing like that is happening here.
No.
And this piece of the 287G that you had signed on to is administrative in nature at its core, correct?
I would view it as that, yes.
Yeah, okay. And I think it's going to be fair to say that your job of having good relations with all of our community members has been made more difficult by recent events. That should probably go without saying,
I think so, yes.
and I probably shouldn't have said it.
No.
So, again, I want to thank you. Any last questions from the board for Eric before we?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do like to talk, as you've noticed. You mentioned too that you're available anytime, to come, and I had been hoping and trying to work to see this happen way before this several times. And I'm glad you're here now. But also, it's a two-way street too, because we don't know what's happening, so we don't know what questions to say, hey, come update us on this. So this is a two-way street too, and I know you try to do that, but if you have something that comes up, hey, the board might want to know this. And there's a big value to this, because this way the community knows what's better even what's going on. So thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome.
And I'll just mention to board members, first of all, I want to thank everybody for staying on topic today. It's most appreciated. I know this, as I indicated earlier, this is a sensitive topic, and so trying to get the information out as best we can has been pretty important for us. Eric had mentioned earlier, working behind the scenes to try to help our affected communities, our communities at large, and there are those efforts that are happening. I know several of us in this room have been certainly involved in outreach to state and federal and local partners to try to make things work and try to make some advances in some of these difficult areas that we're currently having to operate in. Appreciate you, Eric. Appreciate your entire staff, and as well as our partners over at the City of Willmar. And if we have any questions, we will make sure, individually or otherwise, that we reach out. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, thanks, guys.
At this time, we are at the part of our meeting concerning administrative updates, appointments, calendar, and committee reports. We will actually have time for committee reports today. And I do want to offer this to board members. You may use your time during report outs at the end of our meeting for any comments on, say, recent events, as you may feel comfortable sharing. We are a apolitical body at its core. We all run as nonpartisans, but each one of us certainly comes with worldviews and some of us may want to be able to express some of those today, and so that will be the time and the place to do that. I'm going to ask Administrator Baker, do we have any, would you care to do your update first?
We do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had originally scheduled a Health and Human Services work session for March 3rd, and that is the AMC Legislative Conference that I do think some commissioners will be traveling down to the cities Tuesday afternoon. So speaking with Caroline, we would like to propose 2 separate dates. That would be March 2nd or March 10th. Same time, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So I would like to get a consensus from the board of which date would work better for staff to be prepared to do so.
Mr. Chair, March 10th will not work for me.
Okay.
Same for me, March 10th does not work. The 2nd would be fine.
Yeah, the 2nd is open on my schedule. Roger?
No, for the same reason I won't be here on the 3rd, I won't be here on the 2nd.
As you have CPT, is it?
No, I'm actually going to be traveling.
Oh, well, good for you. Corky?
And I will make both days work if needed.
Okay. So let's, we kind of have a consensus around the 2nd, and that the 10th would not work. Would we, in any way, shape, or form, need a third alternative?
Mr. Chair, I would encourage you to go ahead with it. This time of the year, it's going to be really difficult to,
Okay.
with the number of workshops or sessions we have the rifle thing. Just go
Yep.
ahead with it. I can catch up with.
So we're going to shift that then to the,
Second. Okay, and
1:30 to 2:30 again?
1 to 3.
1 to 3, okay.
And it will probably be 1 to 2:30, but kind of block off that time. And I'll talk with Caroline to see, I know staff are already working on a topic, so we can see if we can get that information that ahead of time. And then the other one would be to schedule the shotgun rifle listening session. I know the board had discussed this as well. I had sent out that doodle as requested. February 9th or March 9th came back as dates that would work. My recommendation would be March 9th. I feel that next Monday would be a little quick turnaround time. And so that did seem to work for everyone on March 9th.
Let me clarify, what was the time again on that? Because I have there's planning and zoning in here on March 9th. So
Yeah.
as long as it's ahead of time, if they don't have
I think.
a variance meeting, then I think would be.
Is that the 5:30 one then, on the 9th?
Kelsey, that does not work for me. I'm going to be out of state, actually.
Put it on.
Those were the only 2 that came up. You offered us a lot.
I did. I offered you a lot, and I went through the list,
Yeah.
and that was what everybody had,
I know I
that you
put
had
the-
marked.
Really? Well, I thought I hadn't.
So, yeah, I'd sent a lot of dates, so I don't know if we're gonna get a consensus for this. I think
And
the
I'm fine
goal
with
would be to have the consensus.
Do it whenever you have to do it.
At this listening session, hold on, let me pull up some of these dates. I believe I did it prior to the planning and zoning.
I think you did too, but I don't remember.
It wasn't that early.
It was like an
5
hour
or
and a half,
5:30.
I think,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
We don't need a motion on this, but I'd go with March 9th at 5:30. What room to be determined?
probably want to do downstairs, right?
Yes.
I think this would be fine.
If
Planning and zoning is
planning and zoning is at 7, though,
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah, so we would probably have it downstairs in the NPR.
yeah.
Okay, I'll plan for March 9th then.
And we'll get an invite sent out for that.
5:30 to 7?
Outstanding. And then we'll need an
5:30 to
updated-
7, right, so Roger's able to
Yep.
put up for that.
And we'll need an updated invite for the
Dale Anderson.
work session.
I'll see if he
Because
can
I can only delete that, I can't add it.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Okay,
I'll make it work.
You said if need be.
I know.
'Cause there was
be around.
there was like 3, I mean, you guys, you obviously must have really busy schedules right now, because to narrow it down to even get a consensus for all those dates I sent out was tough, so
It's pretty much every day.
I'm sorry, I did try. And then,
February 9th doesn't work, why? Just too hard to get
I
it.
just think it's a little quick turnaround time for everybody,
And
to
the
get the word
notification
out.
Okay.
It would be noticed, I could notice it tomorrow, we'd have plenty of time not violate open meeting law. But I just think to get it in the paper, to get community members
I
here.
think it'd be better to do it on the night
Yeah.
for that purpose, just because we want to have everybody informed so they don't feel they
Yep.
weren't given the chance.
And then just a few different administrative things I've been working with, I think Commissioner Imdeck knows this, Dale Anderson too, Lake Andrew, Lake Association regarding a lake improvement district. I've been working with some members on that, so that is a new process, not necessarily a new process. Diamond and Nest Lake have lids, but maybe a new process for me and our new auditor. And so I've been working with those individuals. I just kind of handed now the process over to the auditor, and she will work with the Lake Association on the timeline. There's some pretty specific timelines within the statute, but it will eventually, it's a county board approval. So I probably will send out some information on that, because I don't know if this board has approved a lake improvement district before. And so I'll send some background information out on that. And then I've been working with Austin Hillenbrands, our drainage manager, on our no wake zone ordinance. And so we're finalizing that. My goal is to bring it back to board in March, kind of like what we did with the cannabis, maybe a first review. No discussion taking place, but just kind of to review the ordinance, and then we would go through that public hearing process, and so that would be set to be done by, Memorial Day. There was, I think that was it, those were the two items, that I wanted to just let you know that I'm working with community members on, and then the township meeting, I think you all should be aware of this now. And maybe you got the invite, March 23rd is the township meeting. I believe that starts at 9 a.m. Jane Youngkrantz has asked Caroline Kahn and myself to do a presentation regarding the shutdown and partial shutdown and the impacts to our community members. And I think that's a bold move for the township, because it's still got local government and affects the individuals that are living within their township. And so just a heads up, Caroline and I will be presenting on that at the township meeting. That's outside of their normal presentations like Mel and ditches. And so I just wanted you all to be aware of that. But I think that's a really good communication for us, for all of us.
Mr. Chair, is it going to be at Legion again then?
Yeah. Yes, you're right. It's a holiday, and do you all get individual invites on that?
I have.
I haven't known.
And I have a CPT meeting that day, so.
Okay, yep, I believe it's at 9 a.m. and you're right, it's the Holiday Inn this year.
Could I spend the lid?
Yeah.
No, I'm forgetting exactly what it stands for.
Lake Improvement.
Lake Improvement District. It's basically, for those who are wondering what it is, generally, they're done through a watershed district, if you have a watershed district, but Lake Andrew does not. So otherwise, a watershed district would do it, but it basically allows them to assess a tax.
Yep.
Because generally what happens now is that you have members of a lake improvement association, but only about a third of the property owners participate. So they pay all the bills, and so this is an opportunity for everybody to share in that. I know North Fork of the Crow River has done a couple of them over there, and the Middle Fork has done a couple of them, so.
They're nothing new.
They're nothing new,
But
and
maybe
they would know
more-
how to go through the process.
Yeah, more new in the process of coming up through the county board instead of what Roger said, through a water. Stearns County, Otter Tail County have done lots of these through the county board. Stearns County has a phenomenal timeline laid out, so I went over that with the members of the Lake Association, which are, they have been great to work with. The second thing was, at the March 3rd board meeting, we will have someone here, and a few commissioners are aware of this, of Calhoun Lake, the renaming. of that. And so there will be a presentation and then a board discussion for that as follows. I've been working with Mel Odens on this as well. I need to have conversations with the county attorney and then the DNR regarding this. And so there's a process, I think it was brought up at their lake association this last summer. And so it's been a process, but my contact has been really good on working with, and he's also got a busy schedule, so March 3rd works for him, and I can, the presentation that he has and the background information of that will be also included in the board packet ahead of
We're
time.
gonna find out what this is about
Yeah.
in the packet, okay?
It's basically to determine, is it Lake Calhoun or Calhoun Lake?
Because it's printed different in different places.
Okay.
And there's a lot of history within that name.
Yes.
And so that's
interesting.
what has spurred the conversation. And so it's nothing that needs to be done tomorrow, but we need to see, you know, I think the Lake Association and myself at this point and working with Mel, we want to see some action taken. And then that, and including in that process, no different than the lid, needs to come through the county board for approval.
I'm always amazed of all the different things we get involved in.
All right, any other questions for the administrator? All right, then let's go to report outs, and let's just start from the left.
Sure.
If you're able, right ahead.
Get my calendar back up here real quickly. When was our last meeting?
20th.
So I had a CPT meeting last Monday, and CPT is growing. Computers, our county's providing technology. We picked up 2 counties in Minnesota, Dodge County, Wabasha County. And as you recall, the services that CPT offers are sort of a la carte. You can do assessing, you can do tax statements, you can do a number of different payroll, I think you can also do, right, Kelsey? A lot of different things. Kennewick County subscribes to a lot of them, but not every county. Some counties just do the taxes or just the assessing. We have like 4 or 5 counties. One is new in North Dakota. So it's kind of a growing organization, and it is an enterprise, so it's a for-profit business. And I forget exactly how many of us counties, 21, I think, 23, are the owners of it. And so it's growing. There's about 21 or 22 employees. So it's a robust, it's not as big as Prime West, but it's pretty big. And so that was CPT. Then MMDC, Minnesota Development Commission, I think I got drove the furthest award last Wednesday night down to Glencoe for that meeting. And then yesterday, I was telling Dwayne before the meeting, I am on a statewide MnDOT committee. Every 10 years, maybe it's less than 10 years, they need to review the rules that engineers like Mel Odens have to review when they do a road improvement. For example, what are the slopes at an intersection of the ditches, and what are the lane widths that are allowable, and what are the speed limits that are allowable. We spent 4 hours yesterday, and I think there's there's 3 commissioners from around the state and a couple of city council members, but mostly nerds, engineers, and they love this stuff. But we spent almost 4 hours yesterday deciding what we're gonna recommend for doing parallel back-in parking. So instead of, not parallel, that was wrong. So currently we have a lot of parallel parking on our city streets. Well, this is gonna allow diagonal parking. So you drive forward, and instead of parallel parking, you back in at a 45, 60, or 90 degree. Really what it does is it increases the capacity in a city block by quite a bit. But there's gotta be rules for it, how deep that parking lot or that parking space should be, how wide it should be. Can they swing across the center line as they're backing in? And it applies to all state aid roads, so that would be our county roads with numbers under 3 digits, and in most towns, trunk highways, because the highway went through almost every little town in the county has got a highway going through it. And so, pretty interesting stuff, but this will go on for over a year. They hope to be done in December, but they don't know if we can. Anyway, that's it.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Commissioner Dwayne Anderson.
So I had a few meetings, not really busy, but a couple every week, I guess, basically. I just want to go back kind of about the Pioneer Land Library meeting. We met on the 15th, which is kind of before our last meeting, but, so we're currently, just to be aware that we're currently searching for a new director, because the current one, she's going to be retiring, so that's what we're kind of going through that process. And on the 22nd, I had a UCAP meeting. That was just remote, Zoom. In the wintertime, they usually meet just via Zoom, so that some of the people there are a little elderly and stuff and don't like to drive. So we've gone, or it's always been basically remote type of meetings as far as I've been on there. So that was pretty much just a regular meeting. And then on the well, I guess I have on the 15th that we had a JD3, drainage hearing, but you guys, most of you know that. And then on the 28th, they had a Central Minnesota Emergency Services Board meeting. And then yesterday, there were a couple that were canceled, and that was EDC Broadband, I think, and then Vision 2040.
Alrighty, very good. Commissioner Burton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we reported back for the week prior to our last board meeting already, and that was a very busy week. This past 2 weeks since, it'll be, almost 2 weeks since our last board meeting, I did attend a Zoom meeting with the updates on the 20th that afternoon with AMC. Also, I had a Prairie Lakes Youth Program Committee meeting, and it was a very long meeting as usual, and we really got into some of the financial issues. Things are not perfect yet financially. We're still trying to figure different ways to be more profitable in making that work, and including looking at some employees. We have actually quite a few employees that are working 30-hour weeks, and that gets really difficult. And from a cost perspective too, it's also not very good, let's say it that way. And compared to having a few people working 40 hours, you got quite a few people working 30 hours in. And so we're looking at addressing that. So we got things to deal with there, as well as the concerns about, the secure unit and the problems with that, and the maintenance needed on that building. It's well needed. I also then, after that, took a vacation, my third vacation in my 8 years, and I went to Florida to visit, and I think it was Chevy Chase Vacation. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, but it kind of turned out to be that way. But it was still a good vacation. Went back there, the weather wasn't perfect, and car problems and so on and so forth. And anyway, long story short, and a lot of work phone calls, and I did take them, and mostly I'm used to doing that. So, but I'm back, and it was good to be gone for that period of time.
Well, thank you, Mr. Griswold.
Yes.
Oh, I got the wrong one?
No, that's Griswold.
What do
Right.
What do I know? All right, Commissioner Dale Anderson.
Just a couple of meetings. I went to the Soil and Water Conservation meeting after our county commissioner meeting on the 20th. It's always fun to see what programs are going on with them. I'm sure they right now are all messed up again with the government shutdown. It affects them greatly in that area. And then the other meeting that I had was yesterday, and that's a tourism meeting. And I really am amazed. They put out this nice little brochure about where people are spending money and what they're spending it on, and what area people are coming into our county from. And it still amazes me, and I think it goes back to our discussion about if we're ever gonna build something, that 45% of the income that's in Kennewick County is from out of state. So that's a huge part, and it's really interesting that the top three origins of markets were from Minneapolis, Minot, Bismarck, Dickinson, and from Chicago, Illinois. But this was December's report. So, I mean, we get a little bit of Christmas into this report also, but we do get a lot of visitors into our area from out of the county and out of the state. And they do it for the statewide and for the county. So we see where other counties are coming into our area, And Renville County and Chippewa County are the two counties that come into Canuet County the most to do business, so. It's really kind of interesting. They have moved into a new building now. They are out, straight that way from us. Just getting kind of into their new building. There'll be signage out there right now. There's just a big W that's on the outside of the building where their office is at. And they have another big sign that they showed us was sitting in the lobby that they're gonna be putting out there so people know where they're at. But a great improvement. There's a big boardroom in there for people to have meetings. A lot of information. They have a little store if you want to buy anything from Canuet County. There's a store in there now with all kinds of different bling that you can buy that says Canuet County on it. So I think it's a great improvement and a great way for us to promote our county and a lot of brochures and a lot of things that people want to pick up and bring to different events. That's all available through them also. So it's a great opportunity. Nobody else has touched on it, but I'm going to a little bit. I really appreciate all the emails and the texts and the phone calls that I've gotten over the issues that are going on in our county and in our state right now. People need to know they're being heard. I think that's what I've been told and been asked, and I hear what people are saying. But I do appreciate people calling me, and I do appreciate emails. Your response to my emails, though, is to call me, because I like to talk to people. I don't like to email back. So I appreciate anybody that wants to talk about issues. I'm always available, and if I don't answer, I'll for sure get back to you. So appreciate all that. I think the biggest thing that I'm a little disappointed with is social media is just social media, and that's been very, very tough to deal with, I think, is the social media part of it. People just need to be informed and understand the whole story, and I think that's what I think our job is as commissioners, is to be able to answer that phone and try to give some answers for people when they have concerns. So just wanted to touch on that a little bit, but thanks.
Thank you, and going back to the previous item with the tourism office being moved, the Wilmer Area Chamber of Commerce is in that same building as well. And this is towards the back end of the main administration building. It's a great space, so if you're looking for either one of those two offices, don't go to the Best Western Inn anymore.
No.
They're both out there now, so.
Is out there, or are you talking about the Midwest?
Here at the Midwest campus, yes. Sorry, I should have been more specific when I said the administration building, so. Just several items that I wanted to cover. I have spent a lot of time recently as a member of the Personnel Committee over at Central Community Transit, helping to move things along in regards to a couple of items. One specifically is a climate assessment that is currently being performed throughout the organization, and they're getting the input of everybody involved with that organization, and I think that's going to have some strong impacts and giving the boards a strong sense of what direction we need to be taking that agency in, as well as we selected someone to do the executive director search. It is South Central Service Cooperative is handling that search at about 50% of what you would normally pay for executive searches, and they do much of the same types of searches as the private firms do. So I believe they're out of Mankato, and looking forward to seeing what they may be able to uncover for us as we look for a new executive director there. As I mentioned earlier, I've been in a number of meetings with other community leaders, legislators, so on and so forth, all relating to the ICE presence in our community and in our state. And we had a robust discussion at the AMC Board of Directors in that regard, and to hear directly from someone such as Commissioner Garrison McMurtry from Ramsey County, to hear just how real those impacts are every day for his community and other communities was really instructive. And I want to thank Commissioner McMurtry. He's not going to hear this, but I already told him. Thank him for that perspective. It means a lot. We did have a little bit of fun. On Friday, a number of us from the EDC, as well as the City of Wilmer and some other community leaders, were able to attend the 40th Annual Governor's International Trade Awards banquet. That was in response to the nomination by the EDC of one of our local businesses that engages in international trade, and this year they were the winner of the smaller business recognition, and that was Novatech, right out here on the tech campus, and it was kind of interesting because, of course, the governor was there to present the awards, and had a lot of different folks from the administration there, and from DEED and other, and the Minnesota trade offices. And it was a good opportunity for us to even have some conversations with folks about, tell us a little more about Wilmer and Kandiyohi County. So I had a couple of, I think there were a couple of opportunities there that may, at least for conversation that we'll have. But the folks at Novatech, I think one of them said it best, didn't realize this was as big a deal as it is. So, and it is a really big deal for an organization like Novatech and for our state in general. We have a highly diversified economy across the state, and especially here in Kandiyohi County. And so it was a great opportunity to celebrate that. With that,
I have
yes.
a few more things, sorry, just,
No,
if that's
perfect,
okay.
thank you.
The next board meeting, we did have a light agenda today regarding,
Which means?
business items, which means we have quite a few on the 17th. I did try to do some behind the scenes working around, I couldn't due to schedules, but as of right now, tentative agenda items for February 17th will be my performance review. I will be bringing back the Prairie Lakes Youth Program contract. I had asked, the board had approved an extension on that. I've met with Kristen Johnson, so I'll be bringing back that contract for 26. Jennifer Swenson with Prairie Woods Environmental Learning Center reached out to me, and she is asking for the county board to approve a resolution for the Greater Minnesota Trail, that the work that they're doing out at Prairie Woods, so that needs county board approval. And then our election coordinator will be bringing forth the tax forfeited properties. There's a lot, why I'm saying this now, there's a lot of information in that. The board chair and I actually met with her due to some of the legislative changes that have happened. So we will get the board pack out I'm looking at Leah, we're gonna try get that right out at next Thursday at 2 o'clock. I will work on communication with Michelle we'll send that out ahead of time to the board to give more background information on that, because it's pretty lengthy on all the properties and the processes and things like that. But those are just tentative agenda items that I know of right now for our upcoming meeting. And then if you haven't read the internal newsletter yet, I'm doing this when Melissa's out, but the sheriff's app is live, and so if you want to download that, you can look into that. Our IT department is really busy working on the migration over to Office 365. We will be also looking at the phone systems and things like that, moving over to Office 365. And so I'll connect with Scott to see if we can have a board update as well for a department. I'm not sure when his department update is. And then
Will we be getting 365 too on our iPads?
I believe so, yep.
That'd be,
So
that'd
everybody will
be
have it.
really nice to have
Yes.
that.
Yep, so everybody will have
For
it.
scheduling and everything, yeah.
Yep, and then I just want to remind the board of our strategic plan. One of the notes was for staff and professional development. And next Monday, we are bringing someone in for supervisory training, pretty in-depth, a little bit of technical. And so I just thank the board for allowing us to do that and to allow our staff to continue their leadership growth within Candioi County. So we're staying in line within the strategic plan and also providing staff resources to, like I said, improve their skills within their county. So that's all I have. Sorry about that.
Regarding 365, could we get a little training on that?
Yeah, I'll talk with
exactly.
Scott on that.
Yeah.
I don't know that we could get enough training, at least I couldn't. I think I expressed to all of you my difficulty in trying to get a Word document off of here to all of you all.
There's a way, it does, you can
was-
convert it, but it loses something sometimes too. And now they just did another update on that.
Yeah.
Pages, and all of a sudden, this is totally different again.
Yeah, and this is the problem I had with the last update too. Kelsey mentioned her performance review. Did everybody get get it the second time I sent it out? Just turn those in to Katie. And then Dwayne, you and I need to find a time before the next meeting to just sit down and compile those. So, anything else that anybody has for the good of the order?
Who's buying today?
It's me.
Okay, good.
All right. With that then, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.